there's a quadrupoint that my home hamlet, Plainview, is a part of. And I don't have a map to show you this, but it's Melville, West Hills, Woodbury, and Plainview. And Plainview is essentially the Arizona of this, not in the sense that it's the hottest, in the sense that if you remember the four corners, you have Arizona, the southwestern one, you have New Mexico, the southeastern one, you have Colorado, which is the northeastern one, and Utah, which is the northwestern one. However, Arizona and Utah, unlike the others, don't actually form the major boundary. That's actually Arizona and New Mexico, with Utah and Colorado, as that's the border between the southwest and the west. This one's between Nassau County and Suffolk County, however, unlike the Four Corners, which is a huge monument, so many where it's like they dedicated, this one is practically illegal to reach, and there is a reason for this. First of all, it's at the middle of an intersection, so I mean, obviously that's not too bad, but it's not good either. Like, I mean, you wouldn't go to the middle of an intersection, and generally you see those two crossed lines, but this time here you don't, because it would interfere with line movements, and therefore, as a result, you wouldn't know exactly where to stand. And even in there are two lines, so you wouldn't know exactly where it is. It's not like the Four Corners. Second of all, it's illegal because there's an altitude change. It's not an at-grade intersection like you're about to see Gerald and Arthur Street. It's not an at-grade intersection like those two. Remember my Washington Avenue video and how I drove that on basically the Woodbury side, and then but there was the West Hill side, and then it got into Plainview. Remember that? Yeah, you probably do remember that. What if I told you, though, that that's where it is, like right under the first tunnel with the NSP, that's where it is. So if you're wondering, Plainview directly borders Melville and Woodbury, but not West Hills. And I'm not saying that Plainview's the warmest, and West Hills is the coldest, in the same way Colorado is the coldest, though West Hills does have the highest point in Long Island, so I guess, maybe. In order to get to West Hills from Plainview, you have to go through either Woodbury or Melville, and depending on where you are and where exactly you're going, you might also wind up going through Syosset, depending on your locale. If you're wondering why, that's because if you're coming back from West Hills on the NSP and you're going on 135, you can't just avoid Syosset. You have to go through Syosset in order to get back when you go down on the 135. So the intersection of the NSP and Washington Avenue. There's not even an exit sign. It's between exits 38 and 39 on the NSP. And that's where the border lies. So if you're wondering, exit 38 is Sunnyside Boulevard. It's signed towards Plainview. And it's around a mile-ish away from Round Swamp Road. A mile-ish away. That's signed towards Plainview, but the exit is in Woodbury if you're heading westbound. Whereas for Round Swamp Road, the intersection is in West Hills. It goes through it's signed Farmingdale, though it really ends in Old West Page, and it goes through Melville, goes through goes through Melville, goes to Woodbury. No, it goes to Melville, it goes to Plainview, and it goes to Old Bethpage. Whereas West Hills is like its northern termini. Now, each of these has an exact spot. Now, I thought that the intersection of NY25 and Round Swamp Road is West Hills. Apparently, I'm wrong. However, that would not be a wrong assumption to make at first glance, for a reason. Because it's not too far away, and the way it curves into it, so that means that that the specific way it curves into it allows it to be debatable. Now, Melville, I actually don't know. Woodbury is at Woodbury Road and NY25, and Plainview is at Minetto Hill Road and Old Country Road. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Minetto Hill Road is always a symbol of 45, right? Apparently, I did not know to the extent of the degree how much it's wrong. Because, like, Woodbury Road, obviously, like, just, yeah. But Minetto Hill Road actually goes out to exit 46 territory. If Sunnyside Boulevard would have continued south, it would have eventually intersected Minetto Hill Road. Now, it would have intersected it way up where it is in extreme northern Plainview. It probably would have intersected it probably near to Old Country Road, but eventually it would have. Like, it's not always in its, like, 45 territory, because that's very close to the NSP. No, it's just 135, it's pretty close. It's like, because, like, by that point, they're around 1.2 kilometers apart, where it's only 500 meters up towards the NSP 495 in Woodbury Road. So now we have a question. So Nassau and Suffolk County. So how come roads like NY 109 and NY 27? How come people think that they're extreme eastern Long Island roads? I wouldn't have an answer for 10 because they both begin in Nassau County. One of them 27A begins in East Massapequa and 109 in Farmingdale. However, they very quickly go into Suffolk County. Now, NY27A goes somewhat far out to I'd say the town of Islip, but 107 I think stays in the town of Babylon. 109 stays in the town of Babylon. It's not that long. So you're wondering where 109. So if you're wondering, 109 begins at NY24, actually somewhat close to Merritt Road. If that reference will kind of help you. Where that intersects 24, so it's pretty close to there. You can probably see a sign, and I probably would have gotten a picture of it if we went that way, but didn't. NY24 begins there. It's exit 33 off of the SSP, which is about a mile away from the border, and it's exit 37 off of NY27. Now, because of I guess the fact that 27 becomes a highway, that's what people get their false assumptions at. But it's BS. It's complete and utter BS. Does not begin there. Actually, it begins, it actually begins a little bit to the west, but people think that like that's an extreme eastern Long Island road, and to be fair, it kind of is. It goes out to the town of either Riverhead or Southampton, depending on where it is, which would mean it would require to go through both the Babylon, Islip, and Brookhaven before you'd eventually reach Southampton. And the town of Brookhaven, I'd say, is where you have the split between Western. I'd say it's a halfway point between Western Long Island and Eastern Long Island. NY 112 could help you with that. So like, if anyone knows NY 454, that could also be of use. And while that doesn't cross 112, NY 347 does. So they actually begin in the town of Smithtown. It's just that 347 goes up north that way and 454 goes south that way. I believe they begin in the town of Hauppauge. Next have a quick concurrency, but you know. And now this video is going to be about why there's no exit 47 on Long Island. Now, so NY 27 I'm not sure because I barely bid on it. So as for the SSP and the NSP, there reasonably could be an exit 47. It's just that the final exits, and for the NSP that's 347 and 454, and it's I guess Havex Park for the SSP, which is really the HSP, the Hector State Parkway by this point. The reasons because I guess it's not signed, which I guess means 47 is a bad number. Now for I-495, the reason is because the Bethpage State Parkway is actually a stub of what it was once supposed to be. So if anyone knows, the Bethpage State Parkway, it goes from the Southern State Parkway in North Massapequa, and then it goes to the northwest, passing by Boundary Avenue in South Farmingdale, NY 24 in Plain Edge, Central Avenue in Bethpage, and then it ends at the Bethpage State Park, which is Plainview Road. But it was actually not supposed to have that roundabout. It's just that when it was canceled, they just realized they had to have a roundabout for it to end. That's kind of like a last-ditch motive. It wasn't supposed to be that. It was supposed. That's actually why there's a wide meridian between exits 8 and 9 on NY 185. It would have slipped through, and that's where exit B5 was supposed to be, because B4 Central Avenue, B3 is 24, and B2 is Boundary Avenue, and B1 is the SSP, which is actually close to Massapequa State Park. So exit B6 was supposed to be Old Country Road. It was going to march through Plainview. Exit B7 was supposed to be I-495 in Plainview, and that's where exit 47 would have been. It's now kind of like just like a way station right before Round Swamp Road. Exit 48. So exit 46 is Sunnyside Boulevard, as we all know. Exit 48 is Round Swamp Road. It's signed towards Bethpage, even though it's on the Plainview-Melville border. Because people are weird. So as for the Bethpage State Parkway, it would have then slid in exit 38 off of the NSP. So I don't know what would have happened to Sunset Boulevard. It might have been like a 38A thing. Maybe Sunset Boulevard would have been 38A. Maybe it wouldn't have even existed at all. Maybe there wouldn't have been an exit there. Because, I mean, their design, the way they did it, I don't know. The reason is actually because NY the reason actually because like the Bethpage State Parkway would have been exit 38, which is currently says Boulevard. It's kind of weird, but then it would have actually become the Camuset State Parkway there, and it would have been and it would have been on the Plainview border with West Hill, so it would have basically in Suffolk County. Maybe it would have been like built where Washington Avenue currently is. It would basically be on the border. So exit C2 would have been NY25, C3 would have been NY25A, and C4 would have been the Communist at State Park, and that would have been up in Lloyd Harbor. Sigh. So you're probably wondering, are there really any cross-island highways? I mean, Sac the Coast kind of is, but it does it in 3 goes. So you have the Sunken Meadow, so it begins, so if you're wondering, that it's essentially the border between Huntington and Smithtown up here. So it begins at the park, unsigned exits, and exit SM5 is NY25A, SM4 is Pulaski Road. So if you're wondering, that's essentially what Woodbury Road, I mean, not really, it takes up north, but like the spur off of Woodbury Road that people think Woodbury Road ends at. SM3 is NY25, SM3A is Indian Trail Road. Exit SM2 is NY454 that we were talking about earlier. Exit SM1 is the NSP. This is where it becomes a Sac the Coast, and I am not sure. I think this is in Comac. I think exit S1, which is for I-495, is also here. S2 I forgot. S3 I forgot. S4 is Southern State Parkway, so it will transfer along there, and then the Vaught Moses Causeway is a little bit later. ARM1 is NY27, so at this point, obviously it will be between Babylon and Islip. Exit SM2 is exit ARM2, so ARM1, and ARM2 is NY27A, and then the unsigned exit ARM3 for Captree, ARM4 for Ocean Parkway, and ARM5 for Fire Island. So it really does go across island, but it takes 3 highways to do it. So something that doesn't take 3 highways. So you don't really have too many of those in Nassau and Suffolk County, because each of them has their own quirks. I mean, the Bethany State Parkways are bad, and there aren't too many highways up in the north, but the Meadowbrook and the Wantagh State Parkways go all the way down at Jones Island. And for the Meadowbrook, the unsigned exit M11 is Ocean Parkway, so M10 is Loop Parkway, M9 is Merrick Road, M8 is NY27. So at this point, we're by Freeport. M7 is the Babylon Turnpike. Exit M6 is the SSP, so at this point we're on Meadowbrook. Exit M5 is NY24 East, M4 is NY24 West, so by this point we're more so in Hempstead. Exit M3 is Stewart Avenue, but I mean a different Stewart Avenue. M2 is the shopping mall / Second North Boulevard. M1 is Old Country Road. By this point, we're on Call Place, and then the unsigned exit M0 is the NSP. And the Wantagh State Parkway also goes here, but it's more confusing because actually it's less confusing. But the Jones Beach Causeway doesn't have any exits, so it's more confusing, which is a part, I guess, of NY of the Wantagh, I guess. So then once you get into Wantagh, you have exits W6 for Merrick, W5 for 24, 27 actually. W3 and W4 for the SSP. Then you get to Levittown, so exit W3 is NY24. Then it actually briefly crosses into southwestern Hicksville. I thought, well, where I filmed it was actually in the wrong place. Then you have exit W2 in Newcastle on Hicksville border with his Old Country Road, and exit W3 1 is essentially a part of the exit 33 from the NSP. That's just all vote. Now, West Point, the unsigned exit W0 is the NSP. But 135, as we all know, cuts through Seaford, North Massapequa, Plain Edge, Bethpage, Plainview. That's the DC I have to mark down. Plainview. And Syosset / Woodbridge, basically on the border. Well, that's it in the video.